Hey guys, it's Jess with MS and I have a very special guest with me today. It's my mum.
Hi.
So because today is Mother's Day, we're going to talk today to you a bit about what it's like to be a parent to somebody with MS and what my mum's experiences have been of being a parent through my diagnosis and sort of all of my story, and so she can give some tips on what it's been like and what she would have sort of liked to have known for being a parent with MS. So let's get into it. So, Mom, how was the process of diagnosis for you? The actual journey we took to get to diagnosis and when we actually found out that it was MS?
Long. It was a long and hard because you were so poorly. Week on week we took you to the doctors, medical assessment unit, out of hours surgery. We bounced backwards and forwards, and when I actually look back at my calendar, I can't believe how many appointments we had. But you were just so very poorly at the time, and it was so hard because we didn't get anywhere. When we went somewhere, we came away with nothing really. And you were nothing at the time. You just lay. You had no sensation down one side. I can remember your sister sitting at your head because she missed you so much, just talking to you, but you didn't talk back. And it was a long process, but we eventually got there, and it was a relief when you were diagnosed that we knew what it was, that it was something, and people believed us because you felt as if nobody believed us. But it was a huge relief. But as to the diagnosis of MS, I had a clue what it was. I was like, okay, that's great, now what? But we've had such support from the services since your diagnosis. They've been amazing. So it still conflicting emotions with your diagnosis, but it's positive, very positive. Yeah. And I think you've got a very positive future ahead of you with the support of everybody around you.
And for anybody who has not watched the story of my diagnosis, I will link it, and you can tell how important my mum is in getting my diagnosis, because I was 17 and not really aware of anything going on. So I will link that because I did do a more detailed journey if you want to know more about that. And how would you say that MS affects you the most?
The unpredictability of it, literally on a daily basis. I don't know how you're going to be, and it can change so much during the course of the day, and then you'll have a really good run and you can virtually kind of forget about it, and then suddenly you're so poorly and it hits you again. And every time it makes me so sad, but then you get back up, you brush yourself off, you pick yourself back up, and on you go again. So it's just that unpredictability of it all, not knowing what every day brings. And I think people see you on a good day and forget you've got it, but there's no day you can't see. The fact that you can't have a full day makes me sad, but how much better you are now than when you were, makes me so happy. But it's not beating you, and you're not letting it beat you. You're doing so amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I do think that unpredictability is probably something that sets MS apart from a lot of other diseases, because it is so, like, literally 1 hour can be a complete flip around of how you are. I do think that probably is one of the things that's very different about MS, and it's something that is quite difficult to deal with.
I mean, the fatigue strikes you every single day. The other symptoms, not as much, but the fatigue.
Yeah.
It's but power nap.
Power nap. I love power naps. They don't particularly make your fatigue any better, but great excuse for a nap with my dog or my cat. What would you say that, as a family unit that has MS in it, our biggest challenge and also our biggest victory has been?
Biggest challenge was getting a diagnosis. And the challenge is the first year without support of grandparents. I don't know how we were trying to work full time, trying to make sure that you were catered for while I was at work. Work were fantastic, because there was days where I had to just immediately leave work and come home because you fell so much as well. We banged your head, we ended up in A&E. I think the worst challenge as a family was that first year.
Yeah.
Once you'd started medication that's constantly tweaked, which is fantastic, we've got you back. But for that year, not having you, the family all evolved around you and what you needed and your care. And a little bit I look back and I feel guilty for Becky, who's your younger sister, because you were our whole world, because you had to be. And that was a challenge, but thankfully it's a challenge that we've rose to and we've beaten. So that's the first challenge. The victory is all the amazing things you keep doing. You keep surprising me. You do amazing things. I mean, doing this YouTube channel, never thought I'd see you do anything like this. Skydiving, oh my goodness, that was amazing. But you changed your A-levels because you decided you wanted to be a psychologist, to give back to the support you'd had, because the counselling services you've had from Blythe House, from Salford, have put you back on the path of life again. They have picked you up and they have supported you, and you want to give back to people how people gave to you. They have literally changed your life and your path, the people that have been involved in your care now. And I think that's amazing, and that makes me again so proud.
So I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the first video, but if you didn't know, I'm currently doing a psychology degree at the University of Salford, with hopes to getting a doctorate in clinical psychology to become a psychologist. Because of the amazing things that my psychologists and counsellors did for me. And I think when I was having those services, I just knew I want to do this for somebody else. And also context to the challenges bit, in that first sort of year when I wasn't really aware of anything, I did sort of have to be like babysat, if you will, because I just wouldn't drink or eat or go to the toilet by myself. I just sort of lay there. So I did have somebody watching me pretty much all the time. So whether that was that I was that unwell that mum had to take the day off work, or a lot of the time my grandparents came and watched me, just to make sure I got some food. Sometimes dad would take lunch off so he could make sure he came home to feed me. But yeah, that, just to clarify that I did sort of have to have somebody here at all times, pretty much.
It was a difficult time. It was a difficult time, but there you are.
And I was very lucky that I do have such an amazing family system that was able to sort of come through when I really needed them.
Because Dan was very involved as well, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
my older brother, he was really very involved.
Because he was at uni at the time, wasn't he? And he worked his daily routines around looking after you as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've got 2 older brothers, and Dan's the younger one, and he lived at home until recently. So he was, because he was doing uni, he was around more naturally than everyone else, but he really did step up and sort of make sure that I was fed and that I drank and that I, anything I needed, that and if I needed to get up and go anywhere, that I wasn't going to just fall and hit my head or anything like that. So I was very lucky that there was such a number of people in my family that were able to look after me. So the next question is, do you feel like you have lost anything because of MS?
No, I feel the total opposite. I feel like I've gained, because you were a very different person before your MS. You were still wonderful, but the strength that you found, the determination that you found, I mean, basically you lost all your teen years. You couldn't go out for your first drink, you weren't able to go out night clubbing, you were not able to be a teenager, and you never let it get to you. You never did the why me. You just were amazing. You've grown into a wonderful person, and I don't think you would have been that person without the MS. Your youth was very different to a lot of people's, but you never begrudged other people. You were always excited when they passed the driving lessons, when they were messaging you at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because they'd all been drinking. You never let it get to you. You just accepted it, but it has changed your path. It has changed the person you are. I mean, the people that are involved in your care and the way they care for you change you, because you just make you see things differently. It opens your eyes up to different things. So I haven't lost you to MS. I've gained you through MS. You are a very different person in a positive way.
Yeah. I think it is the kind of thing that makes you sort of look at what might be important to you and what it's not really the end of the world that you've lost. So, at like 17, if you thought, if I'd have just been told without the diagnosis, like, you aren't going to be able to drive on your 17th birthday, I would have thought this is literally the end of the world. It's like,
you
this
had
is
a
the
countdown
worst thing
on her phone and was counting down the days to driving. But
I think when you do go through something like getting a diagnosis of MS, it does sort of make you look at things and go like, do you know what, it's not the end of the world if I don't pass my driving test, which I still haven't. I was due just as Corona hit to do my driving test, and then I had another one booked, and then we went into a second lockdown, and now we're going for the third rearrangement of my driving test. But do you know what? I'm still gonna get there at some point. It does not matter at all that I'm 21 doing it instead of 17. It does sort of make you look at that kind of thing and go like, these things that did sort of seem like everything maybe aren't as important as we thought they were. And finally, is there anything that you would say to any parents with kids with MS or family members that you would have liked to have heard?
Once you've been diagnosed and started improving, I think the best advice I could give is plan everything. You're well enough to go shopping, right? What do we need to think? Where are escalators? Where are lifts? Which shops are the important ones to go to? And keep everything short, using as little energy as possible. So we learnt to plan was the first thing, and also that plans change, that actually we can't do that today, we're going to do that a different day. So take every day as it comes. Don't plan ahead. I mean, we planned you concerts for you, didn't we? You wanted to go to concerts. We paid for it, but no, it didn't happen. We paid for all sorts, but you just roll with it. Every day is a different day. Every day brings new challenges, but just plan, but prepared to change your plans quickly, and appreciate every day. Literally appreciate every day. But I think as a family we had to learn to plan and just remember to enjoy each other. And also sometimes I think remember, as a mum, I have to tap into all of them and make sure they're all okay, and check in to see how Becky's feeling, how the boys are feeling. I think Becky as a younger sister has really struggled watching Jess because they were so close. They spent every day together, talking constantly. So you have to stop and think, I do have other children and I do need to care for them as well. Differently to Jess, but I need to check in and make sure emotionally they're okay, because Becky found it really hard to watch Jess. And she just quietly sat and did that because we were all busy. And then you realise she was really suffering, but she's okay now. We're back. Jess is diagnosed. They're back to constantly talking again, being there for each other. Sometimes they make me feel excluded because they got a very strong bond. But Becky did suffer at the very start, and so I think it's important to check in on any other family members and see how they feel about the MS, because at times it's quite scary to watch when you're having a pseudo relapse, because you forget how hard they hit you. Just try and keep remembering that it will be over and that you'll be back on your feet again. That I think it's made us stronger. Yeah. Our bond has grown in a very different way. I don't think it would ever have done. You'd be out there living it large now. Instead, you just got me.
Yeah, I do think that, like, as a whole family, and especially I think me and you, it's brought like us closer than it probably would have done. Like, I think a lot of people in that like 17 to 21 age are starting to think that like maybe mum's not like cool. Mum was like my only friend, so I think you just
no rebellious teenagers.
You just sort of, I think it has made us a lot closer, and so sort of brought us together. Hey guys, it's me again. I'm just going on to explain a little bit about why my mum is so important in my journey as a whole, because my mum is probably the most important person in this journey for me. She was the person who fought for me when I was unable to fight for myself. I was in a place where I just did not care what happened, because I was so fatigued, literally could not think. and I wasn't able to push and say, look, no, there really is something wrong, and I really do need to be seen by somebody, and it's not me making it up, and it's not anxiety or migraines. I wasn't in a place where I could do that, and my mum was my advocate when I needed one. She was there, she fought for me when I was unable to, every single day, despite having, you know, endless things to do at home, and she was working full time, and she spent every second, every ounce of energy just fighting for me and making sure somebody listened to the fact that I did have something wrong. And I will never be able to repay for that, because if it wasn't for my mum, I probably still wouldn't have a diagnosis, and I would still probably be flopped somewhere on a bed, unable to do anything. My mum has always been a very important person to me, but since getting MS, she's probably become the most important person to me. And definitely in terms of diagnosis, I would not have one without my mum. She says it's motherly instinct that she knew, but she did know. She knew something wasn't right. Even after they diagnosed me with migraines with aura, she said she knew it didn't feel right, and so she kept pushing, and that's how I eventually got my diagnosis, you know. And without that, I would still just be like lifeless. So I can never repay her for that, but that is a little bit smushy, but it's a little bit of why my mum is so important. She's not just a normal family member in terms of my MS, because she is the reason I have my diagnosis, and she continues to fight for me every single day, and she's just amazing, honestly. So yeah, that's a bit smushy, but I just thought I would explain a little bit about why she is so important and why I chose to do this video with her. I am hoping to do a few more videos with different members of my family and with my boyfriend to show sort of the other side of MS, because I am aware that MS happens to people around you just as much as you. Sometimes I know that's not the case for everyone, but in my family it is. So I want to support other family members that have MS in their family, but that's the reason why I chose to do this with my mum first, because she is absolutely the most important person in my MS journey. Everywhere I've gotten with diagnosis, with treatments, with everything is because of my mum. She's always been the person who would fight for me, and like, I'll never thank her enough for that. So happy Mother's Day, Mum, and I hope everybody really enjoyed this. Side note, here's my kids. So happy Pets Mother's Day. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Bye guys.